Hey, what's up, Silas here? Just two quick things. These it's about politics. Big surprise about politics. One is about the March for Our Lives thing with the kids having this march in the United States of America and apparently other countries in the world, because I guess other countries in the world are going to somehow change the Constitution of the United States of America. Uh, and the other one is about people on the right politically, mostly Trump supporters, people on the Trump train who are jumping off or flipping out due to the signing of the omnibus bill and things like that. Okay, so the first thing, I was very surprised, or just something dawned on me. It's something that I thought of before, but it kind of crystallized together over this weekend. Seeing these people in their teens going out there and saying these lines and giving these speeches and having people answer them and then being covered by the news, getting on news channels. And before, it was somewhat awkward seeing Nancy Pelosi type people, Maxine Waters, adults out there, people of adult age, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s in some cases, with Bernie Sanders and those kind of people, saying these things, saying these lines, talking about politics in this sense. And I'm like, what kind of childish view of political systems do you have? And then when you see kids doing it, you're like, oh, that's natural. They're kids. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't have any actual knowledge. I mean, they don't have the life experience to actually know these things. So did anyone on the left notice that? How easy it was for children to be saying the lines, to kind of stand in as political leaders for your kind of things that you follow, if you follow things that Bernie Sanders, Maxine Waters, and those kind of people have been saying. So that's one thing that was kind of noticeable from this thing, and I was like, yeah, actually, it's for kids. It kind of shows that this is for kids. And people are talking about, yeah, Donald J. Trump shouldn't have been president because he doesn't have any experience. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know how he's running for presidency. He doesn't know what he's doing. This and that, this and that. But these kids, of course, these kids understand. What we're talking about is so simple that yeah, even kids can understand. So of course we should listen to these kids, listen to what the kids are saying. So there's some ridiculousness in that. Okay, now moving on to the other question. Thanks for carrying on if you're in political right and you waited through that to hear. Okay, with people in the political right, when you're flipping out about the signing of the omnibus bill, people are like, yes, Donald J. Trump has sold out his base repeatedly. First of all, with the wall thing specifically, he's come out and said he can build the wall through the funding for the military budget and things like that. I just listened to a pretty decent with Scott Adams explaining how someone like Bolton, John Bolton, who is a super hawk, he's very onto gung ho, onto having actual military involvement in places. He's one of the few people who's still defending the Iraq War as a good idea. So Scott Adams is suggesting that hey, this was I think I'll leave a link to the podcast below so you can check out and see what he says about it. But he's suggesting it's a ploy for the upcoming talks with North Korea, and which could be possible. But when it comes to Trump, when it comes to the wall thing, what were people thinking the wall was actually going to accomplish? I know people on the right politically are more literal than figurative, where they actually want to see the results and things like that. So I think just seeing an actual physical wall, and I do agree that the wall itself, a physical wall itself, is going to actually prevent people from coming across as easily as if they just walk across and there's no wall. It's just the basics. This wall here, this wall behind me here is going to stop something. Yes, I can easily just go around to the door in the room and go to the room, maybe back here behind this wall. But if this wall wasn't here, it's a lot simpler for me to just go through. So yes, walls work. But what were you thinking the wall itself was going to accomplish? Now, if it was a reduction in immigration, if it was a situation where now it was easier to get the people out who are inside illegally, if it was kind of stopping the welfare state, if it was kind of just changing the ability for people to vote. Like I asked in that previous one, what if you had a situation where people can be given the DACA, people can be given some path to citizenship, but they have to wait like 18 years or however long before they can vote? Or maybe you just can't vote at all if you came in illegally. You can become a citizen, but you can't vote at all, and maybe your kids will be able to vote once they're 18, things like that. But anyway, so what did you think the wall itself was going to accomplish? Let's say he could magically have built a wall in a year. What do you think that wall itself would have started accomplishing by now? So if he's still doing things, if those points and those things are still being accomplished as the wall is being built, then I think you don't have to like freak out as much if the wall itself isn't actually completely built by now, or if it isn't begun and things like that. And I still think some wall is going to be built, but I think even with the wall that was supposed to be built, it wasn't supposed to be across the entire border. There's supposed to be parts, and there's a fence, and there's other things. But yeah, I'm going to keep this under 5 minutes. I'm going to try to do some of these shorter ones, especially when it comes to politics. And I have a few other things that I want to get into more. So like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. Patreon if you guys want to support the channel. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.